Welcome to Vision Heart Blog number 8. I'm Richard Warner, and we're going to be continuing from the last segment. We're going to be talking a little bit more about meditation, as we were discussing the last time. Talking about the very beginning stages of meditation, the very important part. When you're putting up a building, the foundation is what seems to take the longest because it is the most important. If you don't build the foundation, the building is going to come down. So the first part of meditation is really all about recognizing what's going on with the mind, seeing it in a non-judgmental way, watching those train cars go by and gradually letting them slow down, because the more awareness we bring to what's happening, the more aware we are of those train cars flipping by, and the more we focus on that space beyond the train cars or that blue sky beyond the clouds. What ends up happening, and this is very encouraging, and this is what encourages beginning meditators to continue, is you find that the initial pace of these things going by slows down, and there's more of a sense of that space in between, and you can see more, and there's more of that experience, and there's a sense of you directly experience, not think, you directly experience that calm, that peace that's on the other side of all those thoughts that's whipping through. There's a lot of suffering to that, and one of the best ways where you can look at this in your own life is to look at one of those sleepless nights when maybe you've had a coffee before going to bed, or you've had a particularly bad day, and you go to bed and all that's going on is your thoughts. Just crazy. They're running rapid fire and they're dragging you along with each one, and you lie there in frustration, being dragged along mercilessly by this monster. And it is, when it's out of control, the mind is a monster. Going back to Madame Blavatsky, the mind is a good servant but a cruel master. If we allow it free rein, if we allow this thing, this phenomena, because we have to stop thinking about it as if it had a consciousness, as if it had, as if it was some kind of demon or some kind of negative entity. It's not. It's a process. It's actually, for the most part, it's a mechanical process. It's not even, and it's actually devoid of identity, and it's stealing identity from the sense of consciousness that we've become blind to. We're not aware. We've lost the content. We've bought into the screen, the film screen. Again, we'll use that analogy of the film screen. The real light that lights up the world, that lights up everything and projects out a world for us to see, is that consciousness that's behind that film strip that has all those colors in it, that's projecting out all of this manifestation. We'll get into this eventually when we talk about quantum physics. I'm going to go into quantum physics. I'm going to build towards that, because quantum physics flips around completely the received notion that we've had in Western thinking ever since Newton, perhaps Descartes, maybe even further back, that consciousness is the result of chemical processes in the brain, random neuron firings, electrical signals, and so on. Traditionally, up to this point, and still, except for quantum physics, Western culture sees materiality as coming first. The physicality of our being, the brain cells in our heads, in our bodies, and so on, and our consciousness and our awareness of ourselves is the result of, if you are a philosophical materialist, what that means is you believe in what's here and that's it. What you feel and sense, that's it. So then I would start to question, so do you see gravity? But it works. You can feel it. Can you qualify love? Can you see what love is? Can you describe love? Can you objectify love? No. There are holes in this idea of the entirety of existence coming just from materiality. and don't take my word for it, read some quantum physics. There's an incredible author, probably the greatest translator of quantum physics into an understandable language that we can get, is a gentleman from Hungary called Ervin Laszlo. And Laszlo's books are extraordinary. They're both theoretical, in science and the Akashic field, and a mind-blowing, life-changing book. He lays out an understanding of quantum physics. And it's very interesting. Once you get the leap, so to speak, and do the reversal and understand that quantum physics, which is science, it's science. It's not New Age mumbo jumbo, it's science. Quantum physicists like Ervin Laszlo, Amit Goswami, and so on, Michael Talbot, are saying consciousness comes first. Consciousness creates matter. Matter is manifested out of consciousness. But it's not the consciousness of the everyday. It's not the consciousness of those train cars whipping by. It's not the consciousness of those million different eyes that go through our heads every second. It's not my individual consciousness and your individual consciousness. It's that pure light, that white light, that unqualified existence that's beyond all of this. Now the thing is, quantum physics is discussing that light. Quantum physics is now discussing what I think it was Niels Bohr, and I may be wrong, talked about an implicate order, where there's an order underneath even the atomic level. Implicate meaning it's implied. It's not manifest, but it's implied. This is one of the biggest paradigm shifts in the entire history of human thought. Not so much, say, in Eastern countries, in India or Japan or China and so on. But for the West, this is a big one. This is a huge, huge, huge leap. Because we've been taught that physicality is everything. And this is where, I'm getting into dangerous territory here, this is where you got hardcore scientists, hardcore materialist science like Richard Dawkins and so on, denying the existence of God. Denying, absolutely denying, by using logic, by using reason, by using science. Newtonian science, the old school science, if you will, that is adamant that the physical world comes first, and that our thoughts and our feelings, our emotions, our inspirations, our art, our creativity are really just the result of random neuron firings and chemical and electrical signals going off in our brains. There's something about that that's very harsh. There's something about that that deep inside in the intuition rings false, rings falsely. So I put it to each person to try to experience that space between the cars, that blue sky between the clouds and so on. If you are able to do that for a couple of minutes, you will sense that's something else. You will sense that there's something deeper, there's something much larger, there's something underneath it. It comes in moments of inspiration. Somebody listening to a symphony, a Beethoven symphony, like the Ninth Symphony or something that's so glorious, or Bach's Brandenburg concertos or Toccata and Fugue and so on, or you're looking at a great painting, the Mona Lisa or a Mark Rothko or something that resonates within you, and something is stirred. It's hard to believe that's all just random. It's not. I encourage you to look at Laszlo's book. It's a little difficult at first because the mind has to make that shift. Once it does, once it actually makes that shift and gets the idea, once you go down that rabbit hole, Neo, and once you see what quantum physics is talking about, it's not that complicated, it's not that complex, but it turns everything that we've been taught upside down. completely reverses it and tells us, which I think is eminently more joyful, eminently more reassuring, eminently more peace-inducing, when you realize that the substratum, the basis of existence, is conscious. This we can find through meditation over time, and this is the secret. Now, it's interesting now that quantum physics is actually getting to the point where it's paralleling very closely Eastern teachings, Hinduism, Buddhism, Zen. It is a practical science. It is a practical paradigm. It is not removed from the everyday life. Once one is able to see that through one's experience, through little bits of meditation, little bits of awareness, seeing that blue sky just a little bit more, everything changes. And this is what this is all about. We'll be going into Laszlo and quantum physics in the future. We'll be going into more detail. Trust yourselves. Trust your intuition. You are not just a random accident. You are not just materiality, and the phenomena of consciousness is not just a chemical reaction. Find this out for yourself. Experience it every day, even just a little bit. Once you crack that shell, once you crack that open and a little bit of the light comes in, there's no going back. I invite you to try it. Hope to see you next time. Thank you very much.